I love you. Welcome back to the Couch Potatoes to another Disney Playlist episode. Our 37th.
Our last for a while. Our last one.
For a while, yeah. We're taking a little bit of a break. This is the end of the Renaissance era of Disney. The greatest, their most phenomenal era. And that might be for nostalgic purposes, but I don't know. I feel like these films hold up better than the earlier films. I mean, obviously, there's some gold to pick out from those earlier films, but... True. Especially from the Golden Age, am I right? I am the Green Traveler from Gorsh.
I am the Faceless Leon. Welcome back to the Couch Potatoes. This is Green and Faceless on the Couch. A podcast about movies and TV, excuse me. Here we are. Tarzan. Played by Roseanne O'Donnell.
Oh man, that'd be hilarious.
Rosie O'Donnell is in this movie, though. She plays Turk.
I had completely forgotten that, man.
Yeah.
So much. I had forgotten
She's a great character. I love Turk.
Once Turk started speaking, I was just like, wait a second, I know that voice.
Yeah.
There's a lot in this. There was a lot of those moments where I was just like, wait a second, I know that voice. Like, throughout the whole movie. And then, like, because I've been trying to not... Because sometimes the cast spoils things, right? I've talked about that before, where it's like when I'm writing the cast names down, I'm like, oh, here's a name, and then I would look for them in the movie. I'm like eyeballing it. So I've been trying to wait until after the movie to start my notes and everything, at least my cast notes. So I didn't write anybody's names down, and I was watching this movie, and I was just like, damn it, I gotta look all these people up because they all sound familiar. Like, the only one I absolutely knew once they started speaking was Wayne Knight as Tantor.
See, that's really funny. For me, I was like, I can't forget that Rosie O'Donnell is in this movie. And I just pulled up the cast list, and I was like, oh, of course that was Wayne Knight. So I did the exact opposite.
The exact opposite. Well, once he started, there's a moment, because once he started talking, I was immediately like, okay, I remember this voice. I know exactly who this is. I could picture him, but I couldn't remember his name or anything. So I was just like, I know who this is, but it's whatever.
Well, his real name is Newman. I mean...
yeah, exactly. let's be entirely honest here. No, but there's a moment, though, where Tantor yells at Turk. And when he does that, it was immediate. Just like, even though I could picture this person, I couldn't think of Wayne Knight's filmography or anything. I was just like, I know what this guy looks like. That's fine. And I was just like, I wasn't even going to worry about the filmography. But once he started yelling at Turk, I was just like, Space Jam. This is that moment from Space Jam. Yeah, it was immediate. I was just like, I remember exactly who this guy is now. It was so funny.
That's funny. Wayne Knight,
my dog is playing with a squeaker toy. You are a legend.
I do really enjoy most everything that I have seen you in. But the first thought is Newman always. And I know that it's your curse, but thank you for going through it for us.
You want a fun fact about Tantor the elephant? It is Tantor, right? It's like a hard Tantor, not Tantor. So. I couldn't remember how they pronounced it in the movie. I think it's Tantor.
It's Tantor.
Initially, the voice actor was Woody Allen.
What?
But Woody Allen turned it down. Do you want to know what he turned it down for?
Please
Can you guess?
Tell me. No.
It's around the same time. This is a 1999 film, Tarzan is, and the film he turned it down for came out a year earlier, 1998. It was a DreamWorks animated film. Does that help at all?
Is it Small Soldiers?
No, but you're in the right ballpark, I think. It's about bugs, but it's not a Bug's Life.
Oh,
it's
Ants.
Not a Bug's Life. It's the other one. Ants. With a Z.
Have you watched that?
I've watched it, yeah. I remember liking A Bug's Life. Yeah. I would honestly like to do an Ants versus A Bug's Life someday. I think that'd be very funny.
That would be really funny. Let's do it.
Because I remember, as a child, liking A Bug's Life and thinking Ants was okay. Like, I remembered enjoying it. We watched it a lot.
Watkins, right? I think Christopher Watkins
I'm not sure.
The main ant. But
honestly, I couldn't even have told you that Woody Allen was in it. I had no fucking idea.
No.
So, like, he's the main one, too. Oh my God.
He's the main one. Okay. That makes sense. That makes more sense. Dude.
Oh my God. There's so many people in this movie. And ants. I couldn't even remember this. Woody Allen, Gene Hackman, Sharon Stone, Sylvester Stallone, Jennifer Lopez, Christopher Walken, Danny Glover, Anne Bancroft. Oh my gosh, Dan Aykroyd.
We gotta put that on the list. We gotta do this.
We'll do it. And of course, Jim Cummings is in there, and I'm sure if you look hard enough, you might find Frank Welker too.
Hey, Jim Cummings is in this movie, but he helps Wayne Knight with the voice apparently. Maybe when he was being more intimidating or something, or like adding the trumpet to his voice. I don't know.
The trumpet would be great if that's all Jim Cummings did was a trumpeting elephant.
Also, Frank Welker. Speaking of the god Frank Welker, he's only in here to play Sabor, the Jaguar antagonist. That
Sabor.
Yeah, so that's what to get into the synopsis. The first act of this movie really is kind of the whole story with Tarzan and Sabor, but even more than that, it is the story with him and Kala. So Kala is a gorilla played by Glenn Close. And
shocking! I did not know that was her.
I had no idea.
I can see it though. Once because that was one of the names I had to look up because I was like, man, this is such a familiar voice. So I just caved and looked it up, and I was like, oh my God, it's Glenn Close. Like,
the thing is that she can really do stuff with her voice. Like, much more than other actors, I feel like her voice can change and really become another character. Like,
it's
when I think of Glenn Close, I first think of Cruella de Vil, and then I think of the Queen of England, and those are two very different voices while being close to each other. But
she's very good at acting with all of her talent.
Yes. But anyhow,
and she also does like mini gorilla sounds in this, which is like it's. We talked about it when we talked Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, when Cate Blanchett does the monkey that plays with the puppeteering and everything. It's so funny to me to think of these hugely famous actors in the vocal studio room just doing monkey sounds. I fucking love that image. Like, it's so good to me. I can't imagine Glenn Close in there just being like doing like the gorilla grunting. Like, it's oh man, I love it.
Sadly, Kala loses her child, a little baby gorilla.
Yeah.
And she had
devastating scene too.
Yeah, a devastating scene that has to do with Sabor. Frank Welker plays a real badass and a real bastard that is in this one, and maybe that's why he didn't want to be credited.
Maybe,
but we're giving you the credit. So, Kerchak, played by Lance Henriksen. He is the leader of the gorilla pack and was Kala's mate. And it was his child that was killed. While out and about their daily ways, whatever the gorillas do, Kala hears a baby crying throughout the jungle and finds her way to the source, which is this like treehouse thing that the baby's parents had made. The parents had been killed by Sabor, and so she takes in the baby, and he's a human, and she names him Tarzan. And Kerchak is like, "That's not my son, but he can stay because I do have a heart deep down under all this muscle and
also,
anger."
I don't think he was going to fight his wife. His wife was very stubborn about this decision.
She was. And he's like, "I want you to be happy." I really appreciated Kerchak a lot more this wash around than ever before. He's still a bastard.
Well, I mean, I feel as an adult, you like because this is the first Disney film I remember. Right, wow. So like I was probably 6 years. I think I was 6 years old when it came out. We did not see it in theater, but I remember it was on VHS. We rented it, or maybe we just got it on pay-per-view or something. I can't remember. But we had gone to get McDonald's. My parents took my brother and I out to get McDonald's, and our Happy Meal toy, because I ate Happy Meals as a kid. Our Happy Meal toy was Tarzan related. So I remember we had these Tarzan toys, and we came home, and we were just like, we want to watch Tarzan, we want to watch Tarzan. So we put it on, we watched Tarzan. It's the first one I remember watching.
Wow.
I'm sure we had watched Disney before.
Right.
But it was just that experience of having this Happy Meal toy, and we all sat down as a family.
A movie was it was an event back in the late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah.
And
it was good stuff.
My mom's house, we had these chairs that could fold out into beds,
nice.
So we would always have like a sleepover. Yeah, we'd do like a sleepover in the living room, and it was a movie night. We would
I love that.
Mom would rent a movie. Yeah, always something family friendly, obviously.
Yeah, it was fun. Of course. But no, I really do like when I watched this as a kid, I definitely hated Kerchak as well. Like I was just like, man, this guy is such a hard ass. Like just accept Tarzan as one of your own. What are you fucking doing? But as an adult, like you do appreciate him a lot more because you understand he's protecting this entire group. All of these gorillas are a family, and he's got this whole I don't want to say 100, but he's got at least like 20 to 30 gorillas to look
50
after.
50 some, I think, was said at some point.
Yeah. And it's just like you do understand that more because Kerchak knows what humans are capable of.
Right. Yeah,
they're
that
just
was a
as
lot
bad
more
as
obvious
Sabor.
to me in this run of it than before, because most of the gorillas seem like they have no idea about humans. But Kerchak, when he asked Kala, "Are you certain there's no more?" That is because he knows that they're dangerous when they're adults.
Yeah,
they're like, obviously, this baby's not going to hurt anybody. It's a baby,
right? It's just a baby.
Yeah,
and we can raise it to be like an ape. Man.
Yeah, that's what Kala says, and Kerchak is like, he will never be one of us. Blah, 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 blah. And anyhow, he grows up in a great montage. And
before we have him grow up, can we discuss the Disney conspiracy that Tarzan is the older brother to Elsa and Anna? Like,
oh my god!
Do you remember that? Do you remember when that came out? Because their parents sail away and die on the seas.
It's the same dad. It's the same dad.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's 100%. Like that. I feel like it's 100% the same parents because they sail to this island. They crash on the shore basically, and then they're just like, "Well, we got to live here right now."
No, I don't think so because for the very reason that this is based off of a series of books.
Right, that is true.
Edgar Rice, where he is an English lord.
Right. They're technically they can kind of be English.
Arendelle,
they're fictional.
I've seen a map where it is. It's like north of Denmark, where they're saying it is.
Right. It could be a European lord. We don't need Edgar Rice Burroughs to be part of Disney's Tarzan.
Edgar Rice Burroughs. I'm sorry, I did miss the last name earlier.
Oh, okay. It's a weird name.
Yeah, but this particular movie is based off of Tarzan of the Apes. I don't know how many there are, but I thought there was a series of.
There's like 7 to 12.
There might be just a series of movies because the fucking early Hollywood loved Tarzan.
Yeah, they really did. I remember watching a lot of different. Even George of the Jungle in a way is a Tarzan rip. like the Brendan Fraser George of the Jungle. It's kind of like it's a similar-esque story.
George of the Jungle is obviously a spoof of Tarzan. So,
oh my god!
In 1912,
there was 24.
Holy shit!
24 novels.
But 1912 is when Tarzan of the Apes was published.
And that's fucking early.
It really is, and he kept. It seems like he kept on writing through the 20s and 30s. Holy shit! This isn't by the same person in the 60s, is it? It must be somebody else. It must be something. No, it says Edgar.
It's gotta be, man.
It says Edgar Rice Burroughs right on top of there.
My God, that's amazing.
Okay, but R.A. Salvatore. It's either R.A. Salvatore or R.A. Salvatore. He wrote the Legend of Drizzt books. He's written a Tarzan novel. So
interesting.
It looks like he wrote Tarzan and the Tarzan twins, being Edgar Rice Burroughs. Excuse me, I went back. And then the next one that came out in 1966, it says Edgar Rice Burroughs Universe. And that is by Fritz Leiber. So it seems like very immediately after he stopped writing them, somebody picked it up and the authorship got passed around.
Man.
But the one that R.A. Salvatore was in 1996. So that came out right before this movie, really.
I wonder if it brought any of the upswing to like make them want to do this. Because I feel like, it takes a while to make the animation, so I feel like 96 might have been around the time that they would have started working on this, 96, 95. So like,
yeah,
I wonder if there was a correlation involved.
Maybe, because there was also a publication in 1999, so the Tarzan was for real. That one was called The Dark Heart of Time by Philip Jose Farmer. Okay, let's get back to this movie, because I'm sure it's different than all those books.
This movie has a lot of, like, as you mentioned, he grows up through a montage. They've got a lot of those montage issues again. Right. Just like Mulan, they rely a little too heavily on having the characters. But, again, just like Mulan as well, the development that happens in the montage is, like, it's not, like, wildly important, because it's, like, it's more important to get to the story. So it's, like, I'm willing to look past the montages here with both Mulan and with Tarzan, because, like, all that happens in this first montage is he just grows up, and you learn through the growing up phase of, like, how he is slowly evolving to be more ape-like. He walks like them on his knuckles and everything, until he's up to being a young kid. Because the first montage is just up to a young kid area.
That's right.
And you get kind of like he starts to, like, I think he swings on a vine once maybe in that montage. I don't really remember the first montage too much.
I believe the song is Strangers Like Me, where he is the one where he starts learning all the different skills of the different animals.
Strangers Like Me is when he finds humans.
Yeah,
I think
Son of Man might be the one you're talking of. And
because
this is all by
the
Phil
Strangers
Collins.
Like Me is when he first sees humans. Oh my god, love it! Yeah,
and all the lyrical music. Anyways, there's Mark Mancina did some songs that I think were like more score type things.
Yeah, I think he did the musical score.
Okay, gotcha.
So, like, just and then the soundtrack is all Phil Collins, which is weird, honestly. Like, up until now, I feel like most Disney films have been, I'm going to get the terms wrong, I think diegetic, where it's like the characters are the ones singing.
Yeah, the characters are the ones singing. Even when they're not, they're the ones singing. Well, there's some exceptions. There's some songs that happen, and The Rescuers isn't a musical either. Neither of those. There's some movies that definitely aren't musicals. But yes, especially in this era, I feel like all of the music has been with the character in their moment.
Yeah. So it's very weird. Like having watched Disney in order as we've been doing, it's really weird to get to this point where you have Tarzan, which is a very bold decision to have non-diegetic, a background music basically that's telling what's going on. But and there's one or two songs. It's so good. I will admit, I do love the soundtrack. I'm not going to knock the soundtrack at all. I'm just saying it's a very bold choice to make.
Yeah, definitely.
But I think they made the right choice in going with Phil Collins, because it's like, if you're not going to have your characters sing and you're going to hire somebody to sing this whole movie, basically, Phil Collins is a pretty damn good choice.
That's a pretty good choice.
You and I were, you and I were talking beforehand, and I've always taken the stance that I'm more of a Peter Gabriel Genesis fan.
Yeah,
I like Peter Gabriel a lot. I'm sorry, everybody out there who just gasped.
I appreciate both of them. I just know that I appreciate Phil Collins' work after Genesis, and I didn't follow Gabriel as much after Genesis. So
I'm honestly the exact same, except that I followed Peter Gabriel. I like Peter. I think both of them had better solo careers. Again, there's so many people gasping out there. I think they both had better solo careers. But like in regards to just Genesis, I think Peter Gabriel's Genesis was I prefer it a little more than Phil Collins' Genesis.
That's fair.
At the same time, Phil Collins is a fucking amazing talent, and this soundtrack is phenomenal. Like, because unlike a lot of other Disney films, like most Disney films, I'll watch it, I'll think the music's good, but I only remember like one or two songs. This one, I remember like at least 4 or 5. Like, I might not be able to sing them off the top of my head right now, but if you were to give me the titles, I'd be like, yep, like You'll Be in My Heart. I remember that one.
Yep, of course.
Strangers Like Me. I love that one.
Yeah. Trash in the Camp.
There's so many.
Trash in the Camp. I don't know that Phil Collins sang in that, but you know who did? He did write it, though. You know who sang it?
Oh, he did? Okay, cool.
Do you know who sang in it?
I don't. Frank Welker.
In Sync.
What? Oh my god, that's hilarious. That reminds me, I just this lady at work just found out that Justin Timberlake turned like 42 or something. I can't remember how old Justin Timberlake is, but like she was having like a momentary like, this is fucking bullshit. Like, I remember him as a goddamn kid. Now he's 42. It's like, and I was just like, yep, we're all getting old.
Yep,
we're all getting old.
It is weird to think about, because I would still consider him young. Am I just because he's in shape? Yeah, but I feel old, and I'm 12 years younger. Help me!
No, I feel it, man. I feel very old and fatigued. I need to get a lot of body parts checked out, but
I need to just work out my body. I think that will help.
Yeah, we'll get gym memberships
just hard
together.
To get. Yeah, that's never worked out for me, because there's people that touch those machines.
Yeah, I just need to run on the treadmill. That's all. I don't need the weightlifting machines or anything. I just need a treadmill.
Yeah, I gotta work my body that way as well.
Work your body.
I need all of it. I want all of it back. I was in such good shape at the midpoint of my high school career, and then I just stopped working out. And
the only time I've been in good shape was when I lost my gallbladder, and I couldn't eat anything for like 3 months except for like rice and veggies.
Yeah, so I think that was more malnourished than in good shape.
You're right, it was malnourished, but at the same time, I wasn't fat anymore. And everybody looks at me and they're like, Greg, you're not fat. And I'm like, I am fat. I know my body without clothes on, and I am fat.
I feel that.
Tarzan, on the other hand, knows his body very well without clothes on.
Yes,
he's fit like a motherfucking fiddle.
Super fit, and that he needs it so that he can swing around, slide on trunks, things that you can only do in Africa. The very vague Africa. Where they are in Africa, who knows? I think
they traveled. Yeah, the animators traveled to Uganda and Kenya. So I would assume it's in that area, because that's where they went to study gorillas and everything.
Don't know if that is still part of the Congo forest. I don't know. But
I have no idea.
That one is the real big one, the real big jungle. So that's what I thought they were basing it off.
My knowledge of any other continent, I don't even know America that well, honestly. My geography knowledge is just shit. Like, all I know is what I've read on Wikipedia, which is Uganda and Kenya is where the animators at least travel.
There you go.
Yeah, which is it parallels. They're traveling to Africa to study the apes. Parallels the main female lead and her father.
That is right,
and also our villain.
Yes,
Jane Porter, voiced by Minnie Driver. Her father,
his father is Professor
Archimedes.
Yes. Nigel Hawthorne.
I honestly did not know. Yeah, which is beautiful. Like, I love that. But yeah, I honestly did not know his name was Archimedes. That's kind of funny.
Oh, that's cool. I think I remember him like berating himself at one point and using his name. Yeah. I thought he was talking about like Minerva's owl. I thought that's what. Yeah, that's what
I thought it was an owl too when he said that. But it's whatever. It's an owl's name. That's what Archimedes. Whenever I hear Archimedes, I immediately think owl.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, both Minnie Driver and Nigel Hawthorne do beautifully good voices for their characters. Jane is obviously more focused on as the eccentric. What is she? She's
well, she's helping her father research. Yeah. I would say that she. You could call her a scientist because she, I don't know at this point how many women were allowed to be in university roles, right. But her father is a professor and she works with her father.
Yeah. And they're both very eccentric characters. Yes. They're both very joyous and very excited by nature. Which is immediately juxtaposed by their traveling companion, their guide through the jungle.
Right. The guy who's clearly been in Africa before. Because
Clayton.
Yeah, because he, well, at the very least, he's been in the bush before. Yeah. But Clayton is played by Brian Blessed, or Blessed.
Do you remember that name?
I do, but I don't remember from what.
Do you remember? Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. He plays Boss Nass.
Oh.
Isn't that great? Like, I love that.
Oh,
I never knew. I only know him as Boss Nass. I did not know he was William Cecil Clayton, who was a pretty damn good villain too.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, he's very hardened individual. He's kind of scared by the jungle.
Yeah, he's also just like a real person. Like, you could see a person with these motivations doing these evil things because it happens all the time. He's a poacher,
right?
That is his villainous goal is to poach these gorillas that are Tarzan's family. Now, Jane and Professor Porter do not know this. They think that he's just their guide. But
that's what they hired him for.
Yeah, he is taking advantage of their need for a guide to get the funding to go out there to Africa to get these gorillas.
Right. Yeah, he does. I've recently, as in like in the last 5 years, I've read a huge autobiography on Theodore Roosevelt, and Clayton is very much a Teddy character, and that Theodore was not as evil as Clayton. I will say that, in my opinion, he's not as evil, but Teddy Roosevelt did go to Africa, to South America, and hunted a lot of animals, like over 200 some animals that he sent back to the Smithsonian Museum. And that's kind of what Clayton is interested in, but except I think he kind of wants to zoo some of them as well. He wants to sell them to zoos. Yeah. He doesn't want to kill all of them, but he does want to definitely kill some good game. Yeah. And then bring home some to sell off and make big bucks off of.
Yeah.
But he does a really good job at the very beginning. Like, honestly, for the first half of this, for the first half of knowing Clayton, Jane, and the professor, you could honestly not even know that Clayton was evil.
Yeah.
Like, because there's hints.
He's
there's
a
definitely
real person.
Hints.
He's like, a lot of Disney villains are deceivers, and that's how they get close to the hero. But they're always given like their soliloquy moment or scenes with their henchmen. So
or
there's
even just like a malicious
irony
look.
there. Yeah, something like that. Like, I know he's up to no good. But they didn't play that with Clayton, even though he is clearly not as pure, like anywhere near as pure-hearted as Jane or the professor are. Like he I don't think you can. It's been so long since I first watched the movie that I don't really know, but I feel like if I watch this for the first time, I might not sense that he's going to be the center of the conflict.
Yeah. I remember as a kid, I did not know until the moment where he was just like, "Can you take us to the gorillas, like to your family?" You know. Yeah. And then like there was a moment there where he makes like a face or something. And as a kid, I was like, "Oh, that was villainous." You know, it took me a long time to think that. As an adult, there's more hints.
Yeah, definitely.
Like there are moments where you can, when he's in the jungle, he's immediately shoot happy. Like something will move and he'll immediately point his rifle at it and shoot. Yeah. And it's just like you get these ideas more as an adult, but as a kid, it was kind of like it wasn't out of the blue, but it was still shocking once he does what he does in the third act, and I was just like, oh my god! But like, there's a whole one of the montage songs when Tarzan is learning English and learning about humans because he's just discovered. He meets and saves Jane from a.
He almost gets Claytoned when they first meet. Because he's Clayton. The thing that's stalking around because he's like, there's creatures that look like me because Kala never told him that there was parents. He
just thought he was a hairless ape.
Yeah.
He basically just thought he was just completely different from everybody because he was like, he thought he was still an ape, but something was wrong with him.
Yeah.
And it's fascinating. That's where you get the "Strangers Like Me" song is when he's wanting to learn about these humans more because he's just discovered them and he's just like, can you show these strangers like me? Like, I want to know more about these people. And it's a beautiful song. Right. I really love that moment. But again, it's another flashback, or not flashback. It's another montage because he's just, he's learning English. This is where he learns things. Where he's talking with Jane, where she's drawing stuff, and they're showing him film reels. Like they're not film reels, but they're like
slide. They're doing a slideshow.
Yeah. With the old timey photographs, which I love. Like, it's really good.
Old timey.
Like, it's a really cool
too.
moment. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, and I fucking love seeing Tarzan learn though. That's the fascinating part of this film.
He's so curious. Yeah.
It is. And great. Him and Jane, beautiful because he knows no boundaries whatsoever. No. And she comes from a very posh area, posh like society.
I was just watching something about the Victorian era, and this might be just after that, but still, social standards were very high during the period. That Jane
when she first meets Tarzan, it's so funny because she's being chased by baboons and he saves her, swings her throughout the entire jungle, and she's like put me down, never mind, don't let me go, like, she's like terrified of all this kind of stuff. And then once they're safe, he is immediately in her bubble, just like right up on her and everything. And as an adult, it's kind of sexual. Like, it's pretty like, because Tarzan's just exploring. He's just like, what is this? This is another person that looks like me, but she's very cute, very pretty.
Yes.
So he's like enraptured by this. And yet, from Jane's point of view, this is a wild man who is right up on you. And she's like,
it's scary as fuck. Yeah.
Yeah, she's really scared at first, but then the more she realizes that this wild man is not going to attack her, he's very gentle and very, like, he might not understand social
curious.
Space.
Yeah.
He's just curious. And then she starts to immediately fall for him, which is a little, quick.
It's pretty
but at the same time,
I love
at the same time, I think it works.
Stinky man.
Oh, yeah. Well, some women are into that, you know. Some women are turned on by the wild as opposed to the posh life. Yeah, and she likes that nature aspect more. So like, I feel like it kind of worked because she was very, you know, she was already fascinated by the world around her, and then here's this man who's just like, I can show you more of this world, you know, because like there's a moment in one of the montages where she's trying to, because she's a great artist, she draws everything. Very good at it.
Sketch.
And she's and she's trying to draw this this bird, and it flies away. And Tarzan sees that it disappoints her when it flew away, so he's just like, all right. And he you know, picks her up, climbs up a tree to the top of the trees where there's like hundreds of thousands of them. Yeah. And it's a beautiful moment because that's when she realizes, like, you know, this person, the Tarzan means well. You know, I like him. You know, she starts to fall for him, and it's like, I really like the romance. I think it worked pretty well, too. Even if
they could establish it. Yeah, I mean, if this was going to be a live action version, I think that the learning, there would be a couple more scenes in the learning session. You ever seen Nell?
I don't think so. No.
Well, it's Jodie Foster, and she is like supposed to be like maybe 20 years old, and she was raised by a woman who had a stroke in the middle of the woods, and then she gets discovered, who died at some point. And so she gets discovered by these anthropologists, I guess, and they are trying to bring her back into society, but she speaks a very broken English, so she at least had a place to start. I think that the montage of him learning English so fast is I mean, and you know, Tarzan could be a genius. We don't fucking know. He did learn all of those things to mimic animals. So,
well, I mean, like, but I mean, you say to mimic, but at the same time, just being raised, he just, you know, he mimicked his parents, basically, Kerchak and Kala. So, like, he like, that's just what kids do. Like,
I just mean like the other creatures, like the rhinoceros. Like, that's how he learned how to use tools, is because he's like, okay, the rhino can use it to scrape out things. I can get a rock and do that. Yeah. I really enjoy it. I do wish, that's like my biggest flaw, is a lot of this, the interesting stuff happens in montages. Yeah, sometimes.
Obviously the story in and of itself is very interesting, but, I completely forgot one thing I was going to say about Clayton, is that another reason you don't, like, as a kid, another reason I didn't expect him to be a villain was in one of those montage scenes where Tarzan's learning. Him and Clayton are like buddy having a good time. Like, there's moments where, you know, Clayton will just be like, you know, he's strutting, and then like Tarzan will come up behind him and start strutting too, because he's trying to learn how to walk like this guy. Yeah. And like, you can see that Clayton's having fun with this guy. Like, you know, he's
on occasion. There's also a lot of frustrating scenes between the two.
Yeah. Because he really badly wants to get to the gorillas, and Tarzan refuses to show them the family. Which, because, you know, good on Tarzan.
He's forbidden by Kerchak. But later, because they're going to leave, he decides to show them, and that's when everything breaks bad. And we'll probably leave that for the viewer, I think.
The third act is really good.
It is. It's very good.
It's got one of the most gruesome, like, of course, it's a Disney film. The villain usually dies. Yeah. And, like, I gotta say, the villain death is gruesome.
It is.
I remember being like,
honestly,
I wasn't
like,
traumatized
trigger warning
as a kid,
on it,
like,
honestly. Because he does get hanged, and we don't see his physical body, but we see the shadow of it. And
it's very, very iconic, classic, like, way to show something like that happening. Yeah, you know, kind of like Wizard of Oz, where that whole story.
That real life story. Who knows?
Well, is it real? Because I couldn't remember if it was real or if it was just an onset myth.
I think it's a myth. Anyhow, we should probably do some closing statements.
Yeah. I mean, I really enjoy it a lot. I'm bothered by the montages, even though I like them and I think they're utilized well.
The music is really good.
Yeah. Like, the music makes the montages so worth it. Like, to be completely honest, like, that's so true.
It's a music video. at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's kind of where my problem with it is like it stops being a movie and starts being a music video at times.
Right.
And like, but I still like it. I think Jane is one of the better. She's not a princess, but like Disney princess is like the term, and I think
she's
Jane
very
is
clearly intelligent, like, and has a full personality. Some of the Disney princesses do not.
Yeah, and like my biggest attraction, like out there, is quirky intelligence in women. Yeah. For men, it's a little different. What I'm attracted to, it's pretty much you just gotta be David Tennant, but like that's kind of it. But like, yeah, for women, like I really love quirky, intelligent characters, and Jane is right up there. Like her and Belle are like two of my favorite Disney female leads, and like Minnie Driver does a great job as Jane. Completely different than her, because she was in Good Will Hunting, right? That's Minnie Driver. Goodwill.
Maybe.
Yeah, Good Will Hunting. Yeah. What else was she in?
I think Austin Powers.
Whoa, she was in Princess Mononoke.
Oh, maybe not Austin Powers.
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, she could have been Austin Powers.
I thought she was.
No, actually, I don't see it here. Actually, now that I say that,
but no, I was wrong.
I always know her for Good Will Hunting. That's like my go-to Minnie Driver film that I don't really remember her name too well, except I just remember she was the love interest of Matt Damon in that film.
But Jane is great. Jane is a great role for
completely different voice too. Yeah, like because you have the hard English, Boston accent in Goodwill.
Oh, she's
and here
English
you just have like
Goodwill.
Posh. Oh, is she English? I couldn't remember, but like she's surrounded by Boston accents. That's why.
But she's there for school. She went to Cambridge, I think.
Yeah, but her voice just becomes Boston. Like everybody, if you're going to be in Boston, everybody's voice becomes Boston in memory.
But she goes back to England, and they're like, "What the fuck are you talking?
What's going on?" I said, "Gotta go to the loo." I can't do a Boston accent. I'm not going to try. But no, like,
maybe that I
really love her as
British
Jane.
Mixed with a Boston accent. We
That's what we'll say. Yeah. I really love Jane, though. I think she's really fun. I love the romance aspect. Clayton makes a really damn good villain.
Yeah.
But I give the film, I'll say 3.5 stars. Like, it's not perfect, but it's a lot of fucking fun. At the same time, I don't understand how Tarzan can slide around on trees. It makes for an awesome animation sequence. The animation is beautiful here, too.
This
is like
mossy.
The best their CGI has looked.
It's so mossy. That's why.
It's so mossy. Yeah, sure. He's not going to like get a shit ton of splinters in his feet. I don't care how mossy it is.
So calloused.
Yeah. You can still get splinters and calluses. Like, even though it's toughened skin, a sharp piece of wood would go right in there.
Yeah,
but no, I will forgive that. It's fascinating, and the animation is phenomenal. Like this is where they started to perfect their computer animation. I think it was great in Mulan. Here, it's like there's no instances where I'm just like, this is weird.
Also, the trunk sliding is one of the more fun things in Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah. That's true. And that was another thing is like when they're in the treehouse, all I could think of was Kingdom Hearts because I remember trying to get around that damn treehouse. That treehouse is frustrating. It is
very frustrating.
Yeah, you fall into the net and you're kind of just like, how do I get back up there? Like this is fucking bullshit.
How did I get down here? Okay,
it's just like when Sabor falls into the net and then you're just like, poor kitty.
And that might be why they made it that way. Anyhow. This movie is Frank Welker's darkest hour. But no, seriously, the one real problem I have with this movie, because I love this movie, but the one real problem is that they're in Africa and there is not a single black character. Not at all. And Africa's a big place. And sure, there's probably some jungle that nobody lives in. But people do live in the jungle, guys. They do.
Yeah.
Like I think it makes sense though. He's supposed to be secluded. So that does make sense.
Like, he's from Arendelle. Like he's got to be white. So
but after they introduce the group, somebody in the party could have been someone that was black. They could have had a black character. Like, it's like, yeah.
You're talking
we're in Africa.
Or Clayton's group?
Yeah. He is somebody who works with Clayton. And now that is a stereotypical character that can be portrayed as pretty racist. And that might be why they avoided that route. But not having a single black character when you're in Africa, that seems... That always bothered me. But... I guess I shouldn't say always, because as a kid I didn't really notice, but every time I watched it as an adult, I'm like, there's not a single black person. Whatever. I still really enjoyed it. I give it a full face. I give the soundtrack a face and a half.
Honestly, I could listen to that soundtrack any day. It's so good.
Yeah.
But before we wrap on the Renaissance era and look back on everything, have you seen the Alexander Skarsgård live action Tarzan?
Yeah, I thought you were going to say there was a sequel coming.
Maybe there is. I don't know.
Yeah, I did, and that one is a bit white savory. Okay, I
was going to say I have not seen it, so I don't know about it much.
I thought I enjoyed it, but like upon reflecting on the plot, it's like, okay, but he definitely saved that whole tribe, and he was framed as the only person who could do it. And I was like, okay,
at least
that's a tired story, guys. Come on, you know this. At
least in the animation, he does it with a lot of help from Tantor and Rosie O'Donnell.
And he's not saving a whole bunch of black people.
That's fair. Okay, so he's saving. Okay, yeah, I did not know that.
Right, There in the live action movie, there's this tribe that, I think these hunters want to take over the territory, and the tribe has just gotten in a place where they are good with like the European peoples that are taking over. I don't know. We'll have to watch it sometime. I was thinking that, sometime a Tarzan playlist might be fun, because there are a shit ton of Tarzan films.
Jesus, yeah. That and Jungle Book too.
Yeah,
but
that's true.
That was another thing, is I kind of get the adaptations of Jungle Book and Tarzan kind of mixed. Like Mowgli is very much like a very similar character, just raised by the wild.
But that's in India,
right? Yeah. But I mean, like there was a live action Jungle Book film, that like back in the 90s that we owned the VHS for, and I remember a couple of years ago, I was trying to talk about that film, but I kept thinking it was Tarzan related. And like, it's just like, cause it's like, it's just wild boy, boy born in the wild, raised by the wild. Like it's stored in the exact same spot in my head. So it's like, it's very weird, but yeah, I feel like both of those have a shit ton of adaptations we can do. I mean, we honestly might just do a live action Disney, their live action adaptation, just so we can bitch about it. So
yeah, we will. I don't think they've done the Tarzan yet. I think that was a different company.
Oh, that wasn't that. Oh, okay, I thought that was one of theirs.
I think it's in the public domain now. Tarzan,
the Legend of Tarzan.
So,
and I guess because it was written in 1915 or whatever.
Yeah, 1912.
Yeah, Jesus. Yeah, that was Warner Bros. Wow, didn't even know. Who played Jane in that? Margot Robbie?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I forgot. They start the movie off in London. This is much after the meeting.
Ooh,
he goes back. He goes back to help this tribe.
Her name is Jane Clayton, so she's her father in that is the villain.
No.
Maybe.
That's don't know actually, but.
Yeah,
I thought that they were married. I think he might be Lord Clayton.
I don't like that even more.
I mean, Tarzan is Lord Clayton.
Oh, gotcha.
He's Lord something.
Interesting.
He's Lord something, and they're in a relationship, but I can't remember if they're married in the movie or not.
That's very interesting. Yeah, I've never seen it, so that's fascinating, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's look back at the Renaissance and determine best and worst here.
Oh shit.
This is the beautiful era where they got Alan Menken to pretty much do everything.
List them off for us.
Yeah, we got it started with The Little Mermaid, and then you had The Rescuers Down Under, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, The Lion King, Pocahontas, The Hunchback of Notre Dame, Hercules, Mulan, and Tarzan. A very long era for Disney, but pretty much all bops. I'm going to quickly put out my least favorites here. It's either Rescuers Down Under or Pocahontas. I'm going to say Rescuers Down Under just because I barely remember that movie. Yeah. It was still good.
Yeah.
But it does not feel like Renaissance era Disney. Yeah.
I think our bottom tiers are the same. I'm just going to say that. Because the other ones I still enjoy watching. Hercules
is my third least.
Pocahontas I still enjoy watching because I grew up watching it, but there's definitely some problems with it. Hercules I can't say is my third least, but I can understand why it might be yours.
I'd say it's tied with The Little Mermaid. There's things about both of them that I think they're both good films, but both Hercules and Little Mermaid just have something in it that I'm just no.
Little Mermaid.
I mean, for Little Mermaid, it's Ariel just giving up everything for a man. I hate that story.
That might be honestly a little bit lower, but there's things that I love about that movie.
Ursula
is fucking awesome. And I like Under the Sea. It's a good song.
It's a good song, yeah. It's a good song.
And even Kiss the Girl, both of Sebastian's songs, good. And also Louis, the chef.
That's fair.
He's great.
That's fair. Oh, man. Now to choose the favorite. It's so difficult, man. Belle is my favorite Disney princess.
I think I know.
Go for it, please.
I think the best all-around film in the Renaissance era, I'm not going to say it's my favorite, but I think the best is Hunchback of Notre Dame. The only mar on the Hunchback of Notre Dame is at sometimes the gargoyles. I think that comedic relief could have been done a little bit better. Because sometimes it was fart
and
jokes.
The use of the Romani slur. That's a little bit.
Yes, quite a bit of that. That is a big mar. Yeah. But, I mean, I would say that it's historically accurate for the period. But then again, I don't know what the French used. I'm sure it was it's still considered a slur. I'm sure.
I'm pretty sure they used even the book, I think, used the slur, but at the same time, it wasn't really known to be a slur for when the book was written.
Yeah, 100%.
I can't say that was the truth in the 90s, but it was still fairly ignorant. Mostly. But honestly, even though I love Belle is my favorite of all the Disney leading ladies. Hands down, Belle is my complete go-to archetype for a good character because I love Belle. She's so smart, so brilliant. Sure, she Stockholm syndrome into a relationship with the Beast, but it's really fucking good. But no, I'm on record already. It wasn't actually a hard choice. I was just leading you on because The Hunchback of Notre Dame is my favorite Disney film.
It's really
I love
good.
All the music.
It's really good.
I love the story.
Esmeralda is a good character. But I think that Jasmine is the one that I probably had the biggest crush on growing up.
That's fair.
She's just fiery, and she dresses well, and
she wears more clothes than Ariel does.
She wears more clothes than Ariel does, and I'm not very interested in Ariel, and that might be the fish thing. I'm not sure. Yeah. She also is I'm thinking it's the 13, and that's weird.
Yeah, that's fair. That's very fair. Yeah.
But
yeah. That's the Renaissance. We'll be back at an unspecified time for the post-Renaissance era, which begins with Fantasia 2000. Yeah, it's the weird shit. It really is.
Shit.
Honestly, it's stuff that I feel like most of my friend group enjoys. Not all of them. Like Home on the Range. Nobody enjoys Home on the Range.
We'll see, man. Let's not judge until we watch it.
Yeah. I can judge it. I think it's fair to judge. but like The Emperor's New Groove, Atlantis. Zelda, please stop barking. The Emperor's New Groove, Atlantis, Treasure Planet. Like those are films that I feel like a lot of people super love and that I enjoy. But they were not things I watched a lot, so I'm very excited to get to the post-Renaissance era because
New Groove we did watch quite a bit.
That we definitely watched Emperor's New Groove a lot, but like Atlantis and Treasure Planet, I guess Lilo and Stitch is also part of the post-Renaissance era
too.
Yeah, I do like Lilo and Stitch and the show.
Lilo and Stitch, that's the best. You're right. We can't. Yeah. Okay, so there's good stuff coming ahead. There's good stuff coming again. There's weird stuff too.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah.
So Speaking of weird, we'll wrap it up
next week.
We'll wrap it up. We'll say,
I'm so excited.
Yeah. So we'll wrap it up. We'll say thank you for sticking around for the Disney playlist through its entirety. Again, this is episode 37 of that.
Yeah.
And, we only got like 20 more to go. So someday we'll be finished with Disney.
The 5 or 6 more movies after that because the production's so much faster.
Right. Yeah, they do one a year now. It's fucking ridiculous. But very excited to come back to Disney someday. But in the meantime, if you really liked what you've heard here, you can head down to patreon.com/greenandfaceless. Check out our tiers there. You got a lot of options available to you. You can read it all there. I'll just send you there, and then we'll just wrap it up quickly, and I'll just say that I am the Green Traveler from Gorsh.
And I am the Faceless Leon. Safe travels and good Disney. Good night. Green and Faceless on the Couch is a proud production of FictionWorks 19. Are you a fan of the show? Feel free to contact us at greenandfacelessfans@gmail.com or visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/greenandfaceless. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, or rate us on Apple Podcasts. Thank you so much for listening.